All right, so I've watched the Stranger Things season finale one and a half times now, and I watched the rest of season five as well. And overall, my thoughts are that it's fine as an ending. I mean, it does its job as the last season. It wraps things up. I don't think it did that bad. I know a lot of people really, really think it was like the worst thing of all time. I don't feel that way, but I don't think it lives up to the standard of the other seasons, though, and it really feels like the weakest one, in my own opinion. All right, so I've got a list of things I took issue with in season five, and then also some things that I did like in season five, and then I'll also go through just my final holistic thoughts on the season compared to the other seasons as a whole. All right, so starting with the issues, I'm gonna start with like things that I think were the least issues, and then go to what I think were the biggest issues in the thing. So first off, the scenes themselves weren't necessarily bad additions in themselves, but I think the scripting, acting, and timing just didn't didn't sit right. So some of the scenes were just written in a way that was confusing. So, for instance, Nancy and Jonathan breaking up, they had to release a statement saying, "Hey, yeah, that was a breakup." If you have scenes like that, then are you really doing a good job writing if the viewers can't understand what's going on? Some of the other scenes just felt like they took more time than they really ought to, and that kind of was distracting viewer wise. So it doesn't flow as well as it could have. Another thing, I feel like there should have been more recovery necessary for Max. Um, they said that okay, she was in a trance, so that's why she couldn't walk, couldn't see. But the way Vecna like disposed of the people in season four, like Chrissy, all of them, I think she's at the very least should not have been able to see for most of season five. I think she would have still been blind with how much pressure is put on the optical nerve. Maybe she can recover from that, but that aside, she's also missed 2 years of school. So I felt like that whole part should have been addressed more as well. Another thing is they eliminate Vecna, right? Pushing him against this tooth, like in the Mind Flayer's body. I'll talk about that as well. But why was Will not mortally wounded when they did this? My brother pointed out that hey, the like heart of the Mind Flayer's body had stopped beating, but it stopped beating at the point where when Joyce was hacking away at Vecna's head, it had not stopped beating when they were pushing him on the rock. Like the hive mind was still alive at that point. So Will should have been feeling all of this. So I didn't really understand that. In terms of character development, I think the way that they just don't even uh, circle back to what happens to Vicky in the epilogue, and I'll get to the other characters as well. But Vicky specifically, they like had her in the season and built her up a little bit, not a whole lot, but a little bit as a character, just to like not even show what happens to her. I know Robin says, "Oh, to getting over significant, overbearing significant others," but why even have her as an on-screen character if you're not going to if you're going to barely address her in the epilogue? That was really weird to me. I felt like if she was just going to be end up being a one-liner, then don't even have her as an on-screen character. Um, Another thing that was weird was Joyce, Hopper, and Karen, and I guess Ted, but Ted's irrelevant. But they all went to school with Henry, so I thought that was going to be a big, like emotional reckoning. I thought they were going to have known him, or at least known who he was in high school, and I thought that was going to be a big reveal. And I thought it was going to come when I thought it was going to be a bigger thing when Joyce is hacking away with the axe at Vecna. I thought she was going to talk about, hey, I knew you. Uh, we were at school together. We worked on the play and stuff like that. In the play didn't come out to be much of anything, so that was confusing. Um, the ending with the military was weird to me because I feel like even though Eleven may or may not have sacrificed herself, why is Dr. K just done? Like they skipped the 18 months. They don't even mention the military. They don't mention what the military did. It's not brought up at all, and it doesn't make sense for, to me at least, for the military to just be done. Um, Especially when they know what is possible. And after finding that manuscript, they found the manuscript with all the information about the Upside Down. So I would think that they would know, hey, this was done all the way back in, I guess, the 70s or 60s. Whenever Henry first got that briefcase, they should know about that because Dr. Brenner definitely did. And yeah, after finding that, they should still be hunting for it. And I don't think they would have just left Hawkins that quickly. Um, I don't like how they left the series open for future installments. That, oh man, I'm not ready for. I'm not gonna say I'm ready for Stranger Things to end, but I don't like it when franchises drag out stories that probably you probably already gotten everything out of. Because the more you do that, the closer you get to just having a complete flop, and you're kind of tarnishing your legacy. I call it the Kanye effect. Uh, Key points of lore are also just inaccessible because they're in the Broadway show. So the stuff about Dr. Brenner's dad, for instance, getting transported to Dimension X, that's at least what I have read and I think understand, but I don't really know because you can't watch the Broadway show anywhere, and it's only in the Broadway show. So why would you put key points of lore and just information, background information for the show, in something that is not readily accessible? I do not like that. Even for Marvel, I don't think you should put things that are so game breaking only in a show. So like Loki, for instance, I really hope they at least do like 5 minutes sort of explaining stuff in Avengers Doomsday, for instance. I don't think it's fair to people that haven't watched the show but have kept up with the movies to go into a movie and not know what's going on because of a show. One of the biggest things I had an issue with was where are the monsters? Where are the monsters? I was expecting a like super war because they're literally going into the upside down and then going past the upside down, going to Dimension X where the monsters come from. I thought they were going to see all these monsters that they hadn't even seen before, and I was so hyped to see what they're going to do with that. And the monsters just weren't there. I know Dustin says something about, oh, they injured Henry, so I guess they're gone. But he said that if Henry perishes, then so does the whole hive mind. But Henry had not perished at that point. So where are the Demogorgons? Where are the Demodogs? Where the bats? Where is everything? Where did they go? Why was the Mind Flayer's body a big deal? Also, if it's so easy to beat and it doesn't really do anything different. The ghost body of Mind Flayer was cool to me, but of course it doesn't really do that much. But then in season 3, the cool thing about that one was it allows the Mind Flayer to get into the physical world without actually having to travel through by using the human bodies to create the Mind Flayer body. I thought that was really cool, and I thought there was going to be some new ability gained by having this new huge body. The CGI of which looked really cool. I think the new body looks really cool, but it didn't really do anything. It got beat by an AR-15, a flamethrower or two, and then like Molotov cocktails. That's kind of an L. Like even if it made it into the physical world, if it can get beat that easily, I think the National Guard is packing that up. I can't lie. Number 2 biggest thing were the forgotten characters. I talked about Vicky, but she's not forgotten. She's just not dealt with well. But I thought they were going to at least bring up people in the epilogue, but they just weren't. Argyle. I think the biggest one that was a miss was Susie. She shows up in season 4 and then is never spoken of again. It was like she was Voldemort. Like, she who shall not be named. Like, she was not brought up ever again. And it was weird because Dustin was kind of excited, it seemed like, to go to Stacy's party. So, what are we doing with that? And then my number 1 biggest issue was why did we not start right from the end of season 4? And why was that just such a plateau? Like, it felt like had built up so much. It felt like Infinity War for me. It felt like a second time at Infinity War. Infinity War, seeing that in theaters and realizing the Avengers lost was such a big deal to me, and season 4 felt like that as well. They did critically injure Vecna. They did save Max, but she's in this coma, and it really felt like, okay, the world is ending, and they have to fix it in season 5. And then first episode of season 5, the world is not ending. They just kind of taped over the rifts, and Vecna just disappears. I thought things were going to start crawling out of the rifts. They're going to have to start defending Hawkins. I thought the end of season 4 was immediately going to catapult us into action for season 5. Maybe that's because I'm a Marvel fan, if that's what you think. But they set it up like that. That end scene of season 4 what am I to expect is going to happen? It literally looks like their world is burning. It's cut into four pieces. I felt like that was a big letdown to immediately do the time jump and not really build on the momentum of season four. So what did I like? I liked the wormhole explanation a whole lot. That really tied things up to me because I always wondered what the upside down was, where Vecna was, because it didn't look like he got transported to the upside down, and it all makes perfect sense to me. Uh, yeah, it's a wormhole. That makes perfect sense. That makes sense why the upside down doesn't move through time, because it's kind of like a shortcut through space time. So it's locked into that same time when it was made. Makes perfect sense to me. And it also makes sense how more monsters appear as the series goes on in the Upside Down. So in the Upside Down in season one, it was just kind of the Demogorgon, and then things start appearing more because more things are coming from Dimension X to the Upside Down. I like the symbiotic relationship of Vecna and the Mind Flayer. That's what I always envisioned. I didn't think that one was above the other because I felt like that could be very inconsistent. And the way they did it made perfect sense. I thought they were literally going to say, "We are Venom." He said, "We are." He said, "We are one," and I thought he was going to say, "We are Venom." That's how closely it seemed to mirror how Venom works. I do like the multiple plot lines. I know a lot of people don't like that. I do. I thought that was always cool with Stranger Things. How in season one, mostly about Will Byers, why did he go missing, and how does the government tie into that, and what supernatural thing is going on. And then from there, it keeps spreading, keeps spreading. You get more and more plot lines as the seasons go on. It kind of proliferates out. I really like that about Stranger Things, and I thought it was really well done in that respect in season five. And I felt like overall, the season ended things. It did its job. I mean, it ended things decently. It was, like I said, not the worst thing ever. I really don't think it was that bad. Not to the point that people make it out to be. So yeah, it didn't live up to, and I'll say this in my final thoughts, it didn't live up to what I expected from Stranger Things, but it still ended things well, and I don't think it was that bad. So kind of hinted at it before, but my final thoughts were that the season was fine as an ending and did its job. It's not an abomination that people make it out to be, but I think it is very much so carried by how masterful and nostalgic the previous four seasons were, and it has to draw from that a decent bit. So the season feels like a letdown when you compare it to the standard that Stranger Things has already set up for itself. And although in universe the stakes are high in the story, so in season five, right, they are trying to stop Dimension X from coming to Earth. But in terms of the character writing, it feels like the safest and lowest stakes installment of the entire series. It didn't. They kind of baited that someone might perish, but it never actually came to fruition. And especially after they beat the military in the Upside Down and only Callie perishes, I was like, yeah, no one's gonna die in this season besides her. And so yeah, it felt very safe in that way, and because of that, it doesn't really have the rewatchability that I feel in the other seasons. The other seasons feel very nostalgic and like things that I would rewatch, show my kids, things like that. And I mean, I have to show them season five so that they know how it ends, but only because of that. There's nothing really there's no reason besides that where I want to watch it again. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. I still want the Lego sets though. I want that Henry Cavill house, and I want that the Upside Down. Yeah, I wasn't someone that watched the first season when it came out, but I think when season three came out, that's when I got into it. So I really enjoyed watching the series, and yeah, overall, I think they did a great job. I hope the cast is proud, production is proud, and yeah, let me know what y'all's thoughts are in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.